Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan, otherwise known as Old Man Builds, and we're going to be talking a little bit about free energy today. So, totally awesome, guys. We're doing a lot of Tesla coil testing. Also, I was looking into Don Smith and what he's doing as well for free energy and how he got it. So, I just want to show you a couple things. We were working on the hairpin circuit, and I just want to show a little bit of that. So, let me pull that up here. And I got a lot of comments today, and I'm just going to share them with you. So this is basically what we're looking at right here. Make this a little bigger. We're looking at the Tesla hairpin circuit. So what I'm looking at is the air capacitor. Now, a lot of people want to tell me that this won't work to make that other side cold. And I want to explain it a little bit because maybe in the kind of lengthy explanation I gave for it, maybe I didn't get it across very well. When you're talking about hot energy on our number 2 coil and you put a rod down the center, what is it? It's cold. There's a distance between that rod and the hot energy, right? Well, in the capacitor itself, there's air and there's a distance between it. It's the exact same process. You just have to be able to wrap your mind around the geometry being different. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, we're not doing anything that's out of the ordinary here. We're just conceiving of it in a different way. So, with that being said, it's the exact same circuit. Now, what were the other parts that were on this circuit that I took off? There was a spark gap. Again, I don't run a spark gap Tesla coil, so I don't have that high of energy in this. So a spark gap would be able to take away that energy even more if I needed it to. The thing is, I really don't need it to. So this system would work fine in the way I'm running it at 40 volts and under. Now, as far as the other part that was added to this circuit, on the very bottom where you see the air capacitor, there were 2 paddles added. And that had to do with another part of why he built the circuit. But it's still no different. It's going to impart frequency onto something. So, and I'll leave it at that. But that's what it's doing with those 2 little paddles in there. Again, the circuit's no different. So you say, well, how do you know? Well, there's tests that you do to make sure of it. Again, we ran on the light bulb test, guys. We've seen all of them, right? I mean, I could keep doing them. I could probably put the light bulb underwater and have it light, which is probably be a fun experiment. But let's go ahead and take a look at another inventor, and we're going to see exactly how he was doing it. Because, guys, it's really not that different. So let me pull it up here. And I don't want to get into the audio of it. I just want to show you. Right now, it just shows the light bulbs and stuff and how it's going to work. What I really want you to understand is the capacitor. So we see it here, it splits. Again, air core capacitor could be 2 plates, could be like he had it, like 2 little forks going across each other. But along it, it's lighting up the light bulbs. Now, like I said, we've done these tests. That's not a problem. So when we get over here to what he's really getting at, right over here is where he starts talking about why he put those little paddles in. And I'll leave this link in the description for you. Here's the point. Let me get to it right here.
I survived, and indeed the currents appeared totally harmless. I did not feel a thing, even though 80 kilovolt was pulsing through the bars. I will now end with some experiments that further show the curious nature of the currents coming from this device, like lighting a bulb underwater and basic single-wire energy transmission.
Hey, it touches the water just like I do. That's cold energy. You can't do that with hot energy. You'd zap yourself. So here we go. Same fluorescent light bulb. Mine are a little bigger. So start it up. We've done that test. Yeah, we've done that one too. Okay, so what I'm getting at here is something very simple. We know that's cold energy. We know it's a hairpin circuit. We know we just did it in a unique way. But here's the cool thing. Now let's get into why it's free energy on the other part of it. Because like John Smith, we were able to convert it back to hot energy. So let's take a look at that. What I'm doing is converting hot energy to cold energy, from cold energy back to hot energy. Then I can convert it over here to this other Tesla coil to resonate that one as well. Guys, this is like a masterclass on how to make this stuff work between air core transformers, or at least the way I think it is. Because I'm going to then take this coil here, and I'm just going to take this rod right here. It's just attached to that light. And I'm going to make that thing light up based on that. So you're going to see something really cool here. Again, that wire is just going connected right here. You know, there's a lot of stuff in the background. That wire is connected here. And it goes right here to the bottom. Again, that rod goes down the center. So it goes down through the bottom to connect that. So it's not connected to anything else, just the rod. I don't know if I can get a picture in there. Move that to the side. There you go. That's the connection right there. Right in there. There's no funny business going on. Here's the connection here. So anyway, let's set this up and turn it on. I'm just going to turn it on right around like 10 volts. So sorry for the bad camera work, but there we go. 11 volts. Turn it on, resonating. The light's on. So go over here. We know this one's resonating. The light's already on over here. So check it out. We'll make it brighter. As I put it in there, man, it picks up energy. So we'll turn off the lights and verify exactly what we got going on here. That one's lit up. Again, that one's lit up. It's not a problem. It's resonating it like it should, like a normal Tesla coil, because the energy coming out of this coil right here, the number 2, is hot. So going into it's cold. Now, let's go back to this. Move this to the side, out of the way. It's turned off. Now I'm just going to put the rod back in there. It's turned on again. And there's the rod down the center. So okay, so I want to explain this. Here's what I'm doing. I'm taking a Tesla coil and I'm running a main circuit. And that circuit just goes and starts up my Tesla coil. When I put the rod down the center, it breaks that circuit. Okay. So the rod down the center is pulling from the center of the Tesla coil, but will not interrupt the original circuit ever. Let's just get that clear. There's nothing I can pull out of it that's going to affect that regular circuit on the primary. Nothing. It's done. It's already producing energy, and everything I pull out of it is basically a freebie. So now that we know that, it's a 2.5-inch coil, and it's 18 inches long on the original Tesla coil one. The rod is 1/4-inch hollow, and it's brass. And then we go to the bipolar Tesla coil. Now that wire from that center down the Tesla coil goes straight to the number 1 coil on the bipolar Tesla coil. Now, what is it doing? It's just putting out a magnetic pulse. So that what number 1 coil is 5 inches, the number 2 coil is 4 inches in diameter, and it's 2 feet long. So just so you have all the numbers there. What am I doing? I'm basically just using the second coil, the bipolar coil, as a pulse. I'm simply pulsing a magnetic field. You see, everybody wants to tell me about AC and DC and all this stuff, and I think that's outstanding for what you're using them for. But a Tesla coil or an air core turns on by a pulse. It's just a pulsed magnetic field. That's it. If you know that, then this becomes a very simple process. You just put it on there, and it'll oscillate that number 2 coil. It oscillates the number 1, makes that pulse, goes to the number 2. Now it's hot energy again. Now, is it the same energy you're getting from the first Tesla coil? And the answer is no. And here's why. Because it's not as high voltage as the other one. You see, the voltage that comes out of it's more like an AC flyback voltage instead of the high voltage you would get out of your DC that comes out of the original circuit. So how do I want to say that? You're getting more amps and volts that's more regular, that would be more like something that would be able to start up a Tesla coil. Could we run that into a cap bank and then run it back to our original circuit for our ZVS? Yeah, at that point you can. But at that point as well, how many more caps do you want to add? Because we're not messing with the primary circuit, so we can't overload it. So if we can't overload that, then why not pull out everything in the world from it? That's a pretty simple answer, isn't it? Many caps as we can get to work, we can pull it out. Do we have to keep them all going to the same thing? No, separate them out. Get one to go back to your primary circuit, create a loop. You take the second for as much energy as you want. Have the system run itself. That's Don Smith. That's right there. That's what he does. That's a whole process of what he does. So my coils are huge in comparison, but let me just tell you, the process isn't any different. He's discovering something based on radio frequency, which is what we're using. We're using high RF. But then we use Tesla's hairpin in order to figure it out at a better rate so that now we can use this everywhere. You see me lighting up a second Tesla coil. Guys, I could put 5 or 6 of them out there and still light them up. I mean, look, it's not a problem at all. I mean, whatever you want to do, we could do. And I could pull a ton of voltage out of this stuff. For 10 volts, 10 volts is all I got going in there. What was it? Like 12.2? It's ridiculously low. So just wanted to say that. Hold on. I want to get to some of the comments. I know you guys are letting them out. And I try to talk and read at the same time. So hold on. Let's see. Tesla transformer is an analyzer status ether field air for charge frequency generator and resonator. Yes. I am pulling directly from the ether of the Tesla coil. That's absolutely true. There's no getting around it. Now, can I make a better Tesla coil to pull it out of with more of a magnetic field towards the inside? I absolutely can. All we have to use a little bit of geometry change the shape on the outside, put it in bipolar mode, and we pull them 180 out of degrees out of phase, and we can make that magnetic pinch heavy. I mean, really heavy, where I can put in 12 volts and my out voltages gets there way faster with way more energy. And we're talking like 500-600 volts of usable energy at that point with amps to it. And I'm not talking milliamps, amps, 2, 3, 4 amps, something like that, maybe 5. We can put it into a conversion through a regular iron core, just like a AC flyback is, and we can convert. Or we could just do a simple conversion with the core, wrap it on one side, hit it with a wrap on the other, and then pull the energy out with whatever we want. That's the understanding here. That's what I'm getting at. I gave you the keys to the castle with this. This is Don Smith on a plate. This is how you get free energy out of this device. This is probably one of the only ways to get it out of it. So it's a pretty interesting thing. And by the way, just so you guys know, Tesla used the air capacitor. And let me tell you why, because it's a variable capacitor. So caps we have to match, and we go through all this stuff about frequency, and we do all this calculation. It's just simple. Move it this way, move it this way, move it this way, move it this way. You decide where it is. That's where your capacitor is going to be at max. That's what makes it a beautiful thing. It's less math, more doing it. That's exciting, man. That's so much better. And yeah, we get usable current. So anyway, I want to make you guys understand this in a different way. How do I want to say this? If you're so locked into AC and DC, you're not going to understand this. You just won't. If you can't see a Tesla coil on a magnetic pulse, and that's how it works, this is going to be very hard for you to understand why it's working. It's really something easy to do once you understand what it's doing. If you say, oh, I got to put AC in it, or I got to put DC in it, then you're missing the point. You won't get past the first phase of a Tesla coil. You won't get to the second Tesla coil. That's the point. You'll never understand why it's one wire turning on that bipolar Tesla coil. Look, I'm not messing with you. That's all it is. So let's just take a look at it real quick. Hold. It goes over here. I literally have one wire. There's not two. There's not a secondary wire hooked in there. It's not even grounded. It is simply one wire. That's a pulse magnetic field. That's how it works. It doesn't require the second wire. It doesn't require understanding of a DC circuit. It doesn't require the understanding of an AC circuit. It's a pulse magnetic field. That's really what it is. So when you think about it in the long run, you go, okay, well, if this is creating this to this Tesla coil, let's just think this through. Say if I just wanted to make these coils smaller and shrink everything, what would I do? Well, I'd put an iron core in the center of it. I'd make it real small, and I would simply pulse one side of it. And you go, well, why would you do that? Because on the other side, I could take any wire configuration I want. I can go a smaller wire and get more volts out of it. I can go a thicker wire and get more amps out of it. I could do a simple conversion, and that's it. Then I have usable energy all day with a simple conversion. Now, once we get past the amount it takes to run the original Tesla coil and those caps, the rest of the energy is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Now, did I set out to build something that's over Unity? No. Did I build something that could be huge over Unity? Yeah, I did. Now, I'll leave the rest up to everybody else and to, how much you want to get into it. I just wanted to study Tesla. To be very honest with you, That's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to understand why he was doing what he's doing, and I wanted to find it out without looking at a bunch of his patents. I kind of wanted to meander my way through all of it. So I started hooking up every coil I have. I have a pancake coil in the back, hooked it up, worked. I have a rodent coil or an AHA coil, hooked it up, worked. I have little coils that come with the heaters. By the way, those ZVS heaters, I've never used one to make a heater. Never. I use them to run my Tesla coils. I've never operated the heater part of it. Anyway, with that said, I found that just absolutely funny. But I got a bunch of those coils that light those things up too. So what we have to do after this is real simple. Put them together the right way. We look at the Tessica machine. Now this makes that possible. Why? Because the one-wire energy coming out of it is acting like potential. If it acts like potential, and we know a Wilmshurst is potential, can we convert the same way? That's pretty much a good question for the whole thing. Is that what they did? Did they convert it in the same way? If I add more coils inside, outside, kind of like I showed you with the wire down the center, or I showed you going from the number 1 to the number 2, you could put the rod down the center, call it a number 3. Would it give me different energy types? Yeah, it would. But how can I really make that? And you go, well, you did say an iron core transformer, right? Well, what better transformer than the Meg is there? Now we're talking some serious understanding here. You get into the next level of the circuitry of a system like this. You go, well, that's magnets in between an iron core. It's a horseshoe shape, or you can make a total round shape, but a horseshoe shape is just as good. Now you get into the understanding of why you would do it. Now you're getting more energy because you're getting that bonus field that comes out of it. Now we're getting somewhere. That's why that Tessica machine works that way it does. Because they found all of this out and they put it all together. So they took the anomalies that most people would discard and they put them into a system that's just beautiful to work. That's kind of what you get out of this. It's like the holy grail of understanding. You now have the apparatus to make the conversions. Once you can make the conversions, you have energy. That's the way it works. That's what they don't want you to know. I mean, I've had so many videos of mine get like 100 views because they just don't want it out. They don't want me to tell you how this conversion works. They don't want me to tell you the cold energy side of it. They don't want me to tell you any of it. And there's a lot of reasons on that. And I talk a lot about crystals and stuff like that. Well, when you put the energy, the cold energy, not the hot energy, the cold, and you with that wire down the center, it's resonating in the crystals. You want to activate a crystal? Go out, get you some sand, get you some water, take your Tesla coil, put the rod down the center, not the hot energy, cold energy down the center, put it in the water. It'll start resonating the crystal. It'll activate that crystal. Crystals by themselves put out, 350 millivolts of energy. So they do put out energy by themselves, but now you're resonating with the crystals. Change the frequency of your Tesla coil. I show videos on that all day long. I could change it to any frequency I want for any reason. And it's not really that difficult. So, yeah, there's a lot of understanding here, but I'm trying to do as many videos as I can to get you guys to understand this. We are right on that level. We are right there for that free energy. That's pretty much a done deal when you go and put all your parts together. I could do another video on it and show the capacitance of it when we pull it out. That might be helpful. But other than that part's done. I will put that light bulb underwater, and I will light it underwater. I'll hold it down with my own hands. That's not going to be a problem at all. Matter of fact, I might put a couple of them under there. But the understanding's the same. So we took crystals in water and amplified those, and we took, we put the same energy into a jar, and the jar and everything amplified the energy out of it. I mean, I put a big pond in my backyard, 10 foot by 10 foot pond, man, where I can I can light that sucker up. As long as it has sand in there, I have resonating crystals. With resonating crystals, I get energy. Now I have frequency and energy in there. Now I can light up light bulbs everywhere. It's truly the holy grail of Tesla, because now you have what he does in the Colorado experiment, which is over unity, by far over unity. It is putting it into the water table and using the water table to transfer energy throughout the world in your ley lines. So, yeah, big time free energy there. Now, I use my rodent coil in this whole system, guys, to break frequency. So it doesn't affect the cold energy at all, and it doesn't affect the amount coming out. It simply just breaks frequency. So if anybody who's played with a Tesla coil, anytime you connect anything to the number 2 coil, you're adding capacitance, basically like adding wire to it. Well, putting a rod down the center does the same thing. So when you do that, you're adding capacitance as well. So what does the rodent coil do? As a one-to-one transformer, it'll actually stop that frequency change from happening for anything beyond that rodent coil. It just doesn't happen anymore. Now you can just put whatever you want over there and not have to adjust your original Tesla coil. Do you need the rodent coil in there? No, you don't. You could basically do this, guys, without it. As long as you take into account you're going to have to change the frequency of your primary coil, you're okay. Now, how do you get around that? I have a Slayer exciter circuit that works at 40 volts all day. All day. Why is that important? Because a Slayer exciter is forced oscillation, which means no matter what you put into it on the number 1 and number 2 coil, as long as they're not that far out, it's going to force it to oscillate. Now, why is that so important? Because now when you're changing frequencies everywhere, you're adding capacitance to coils. Now it doesn't matter because now it auto adjusts. It goes back to the right frequency every time. Whatever that oscillation, new frequency is, it goes to it. It's an auto adjusting frequency on this. That makes it so much easier. It's so much less guesswork. You just have to put the thing together. And you could put fail safes in there. You could put extra diodes in there that stop it from backfeeding. You can also put capacitance in it if you want a smoother signal. But then again, if you loop it, you're already putting the capacitance in. Heck, I don't even ground that Slayer exciter. You can ground it as well right before it goes into the capacitance on the negative side. Man, pick up all kinds of energy. Now, one thing I didn't do in that bipolar Tesla coil was ground it. Now, double grounds are important. Double grounds pull energy through circuits. The Tesla coil is a pump. It is a simple pump. It's pumping the energy. As it oscillates up and down, it's pumping. It's doing its job. So, guys, if you can understand that in those simple terms, just simple like that, then it becomes easy to understand the full circuit. So now we take the ground that goes to it and we put a capacitor in there. Well, what are you doing there? You're adding a consistent amount of energy to it, so it's amplifying the energy. So if we took it, say, from the original capacitors to come out of ZVS, and then we switched it to a Tesla high-frequency capacitor, what happens? It ups the amount of volts that goes into the circuit. Well, now try that on the ground. That does the same thing. So can we get more out of it? Oh, yeah, we can. We can amplify it a lot. One thing I will tell you is when you look at Tesla's work and he comes to the Wardenclyffe, in the very center on the bottom left, you're going to find an air capacitor. He was changing the capacitance to the ground in order for its coil to operate properly in the ground. Now just understand what I'm saying here. The rod goes right into the ground, and every time you put the rod with something, it creates capacitance. Therefore, you're going to have to equalize that value back into your coil. How do you do that? You create an air capacitor in order to shift it at will. Remember, air capacitor like this, shifted at will, in order to put it in the correct capacitance. You don't have to do a bunch of math. It is a very simple move it, and it's done. So you can put it on little guides for all I care. As long as it stays within the area it's supposed to, you're good. Now, how do you create it? You basically take a heat sink and you spray some clear lacquer on it. You stop it from sparking over, and that's how you do it. That's as simple. Sean showed us that in the live show last week. Put some clear stuff on there, some clear lacquer, and it'll stop it from sparking over. So now you can create this air capacitor real easy. You see, there's a lot more tricks here that you guys are going to have to understand and get in this. But once you do, man, it's way cool. It's another level. Like, I don't even know how much more to say on that other than we got a Don Smith device. We have Tesla's Colorado experiment power. We have both of those things in this. Both of them are designed in the same way using the Tesla coil. It's just you could change the coils at anything you want, whatever frequency you want, based on the amount of windings you put in the coil. So one other thing that I did is I made coils resonant to each other at a distance. Now, absolutely the most amazing thing in the world. Why? Because I didn't take two matched coils to do it. And if you know what you're doing, this isn't hard. If you're not knowing what you're doing, okay, it's going to maybe take a little bit. But I'm going to bring it up for you. I'm just going to show it. So let me get it to the right spot. Now, let me just tell you how I did this. Okay. Take a look at the coil right there. That's my standard coil with the rod down the center. It's simply connected to that amount of copper right there in front of you in the center. When I did that, I changed the capacitance in my coil. Now, here comes the cool part. Because I'm able to change that capacitance, now I'm going to start up another Tesla coil just using that. So let's go back to it. Okay, the light is out. 31 inches, the light's out, is where we're at. So from this coil to this coil, I'm at 36 inches away. So I'm further than where the light goes out when it goes to that coil right there. And we're lit up. Now, let's move this up a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to stand on the other side of this and see if I can't light it up now. And I'm pulling it away. I get my tape measure here. So it pretty much works about a foot out. It's not perfect by any means. Definitely has less power than the original. You can see it lit up there. Okay, so let's stop this for a minute. Why is this important? And why did I show you the distance in it? And it really has to come to an understanding here. A Tesla coil at 10 volts, 12 volts, It puts out a field about 2 feet. Now, if you say that coil right there, right, you say, okay, you put the extra coil there, so you got to go 2 feet from that. So I measured that. 30-something inches is what I said. Now, at that, it would go to the coil, right? But it wouldn't light up on the other side of the coil. And I've done that test. It doesn't light up. So, just to show you guys, now this is sympathetic resonance. This isn't pure resonance. Okay, so the field is a little bit weaker. Now, we're just going to eliminate that part and put it way away from there. So now look where it is. Now we see that coil. It's right over by my table saw, right over that coil. Now I'm going to light it up, and it's going to show you it's 63 inches away. At the power level I put in here, guys, it's not possible to light it up Tesla coil to Tesla coil through radiant energy. So from coil to coil, it's 63 inches. Now, I'm going to run this at 13.7 volts. And I'm just going to turn it on. My resonance value went up. That was a good thing. Turn right back on. Let me verify by turning off the lights. Oh, it's on. Okay, so you see it on, right? Here's the thing, sympathetic resonance. Why don't I call it full resonance? Because I'm not getting all the energy. There's no question about that. But the fact that it still lights it up at that distance. So let's clarify. At 13 volts on a ZVS, at your best Tesla coil you could build, and I built the perfect resonating one, you're only going to get about 2 feet. You might get 2.5 if you're lucky. You got a good day. I don't know what to say beyond that. You're not getting to 63 inches. You could pray and you still won't get it. So it's just a mathematical fact. So what am I doing? I changed my primary Tesla coil's frequency in order to match the frequency of the other Tesla coil. That's the understanding. That's as simple as it gets. So how far am I off? I'm real close. So I'm probably within maybe about 10 kilohertz of the exact frequency I need to be in order to make complete resonance. Now, when it gets to complete resonance, everything in the system takes less power to run. That's how you know you're on the edge of it. It's not just the light bulbs lighting up. It's the amount of power you have to put in it to get the distance. So that right there is going to be a huge key in how we learn how Don Smith's device works. In the simple fact its radio frequency works as well. That's so cool. So say we set it at 200 kilohertz. Now, all I got to do is multiply it by 2. So I could put it at 400 kilohertz and I'd still get it to run. Why? Because it's a multiple of that same frequency. You got to remember frequency. You take a string, put it out, it makes one loop. That's one frequency. You get it to run in the different frequency, right? By the multiple of 2, it becomes 2 loops. Well, those 2 loops are still equal to that one loop because of the same distance. So it's the same process here. It's not any different. It's just a radio frequency. It's why you control right through the radio frequencies and hit things on certain levels. It's the same process here, okay? But now that we know exactly what we're doing with it, if you have 2 matched coils, it's game over. You literally will put it across the room. Like right behind me, I'll put it on that little shelf right behind me. I'll put the other one on the table that's sitting right over here, the white table. And they're about, 15 feet apart? I'll get those things to light all day. All day. Without problems. Why? Because I understand what I'm doing. It's resonance from one to the other. It's a much more powerful resonance than what you usually see. But how does that help us in our free energy circuit? Well, build your original Tesla coil with the rod down the center, and now you understand the frequency you need to hit with the second coil that you put to it. It's as simple as that. Why do I say the rod with it, do the rod down the center? Well, if the rod adds capacitance to the coil, you have to account for that first. Then you get a resonance frequency. Now the second coil you build has to be to that resonance frequency in order to get the frequencies to match. That's why I did it with coils that don't match. You see, it becomes very important in that test, because now when you want to put things in complete resonance, you know you don't have to have matching coils. You just have to have the correct frequency. You see, it's bigger than you think. Right there, we are now getting what you would get is if you put your frequency of your motors same as maybe the power pole frequency that comes out of that generator right there, or excuse me, not generator, but it comes out of that transformer, then you would get the true power that you're supposed to get. Well, that's all I'm doing here. No different. We're just making energy easier to understand throughout all these tests. Now, can I put something on this that changes the game? Well, absolutely. So Sean did some math here on my stuff last time, 40 watts on my bulbs, and I put out, what, 6-8 bulbs, something like that, and it would equal the same amount that I put in the energy, right? Well, the one thing I didn't put out there because I didn't have any more is I could throw 20 more bulbs in that water. And you know what? They're still going to light up. And it wouldn't really matter one bit because I could do it. You're already hitting over unity on the cold side, but everybody wants the over unity on the hot side. So that's not a problem. Yeah, I'm an accommodating guy. I could do that. And that's why I transferred it back. For those of you who didn't understand the experiment I did that day, here it is. It's just beautiful to look at. So real quick, I'm sorry, I'm looking at things real quick. I'm reading while you guys watch that. What's the frequency coming out of the ZVS itself? So it's usually within 30 kilohertz of what I get. At 426 is what I run my Tesla coil at with the rod down the center. So we're looking somewhere right around 410 is what I usually would have this thing at. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. The frequency would go up at that point. So it would be right around 510. Sorry, somewhere right around that area. I drop it back down so that rod is a little bit more than I thought it was. But that's the understanding of it. So it would go up higher in frequency. When I put the rod down, it goes lower in frequency, and that's where I run it. So, okay. I hope I didn't butcher that answer too much where you can understand it. It's basically about 40 kilohertz is the difference with the rod down the center. So it would be 480 in that range in the kilohertz is what the ZVS normally puts into that coil and everything else. Now, if you're asking me to put clips to the ZVS, I didn't do it. If you're asking me to put my multimeter to it, I didn't do it. Okay. I just basically looked at the oscilloscope when I did my frequency readings, and that was it. So, Sean, what's up? LC tank circuit, yep. Thank you, Sean. So, let me see. There was another one up here. Hold on. Astonishing work. Yeah, you know, I'm kind of going through everything that Tesla does and seeing exactly what this thing's for. I don't like, knowing that it's just a sparkler or something like that. This man's a genius. He knew more than we did. So in everything that I do, by the way, just so we understand this, so I'll get it out front. There's no patent going on this, nothing. It's just Tesla's work. He discovered every bit of it. I'm just rediscovering it for you. That's it. Okay, guys, just taking it for what it is. I know he did it before I did it. There's no question that he did it before I did it. He's the master of the Tesla coil. This is his work. This is not mine. This is just me doodling around, recreating what he did and giving you the answers that he would have given you had they not stole his papers. So that's what this is. There's no spark gap in this ZVS, by the way. Plenty of resonance, and there's no spark gap. We don't need it. This is like a forced oscillation circuit. The difference between this and a Slayer exciter, just so you know, is the ZVS is, like I said, it's just a magnetic pulse. For those of you who want to understand this, all it is a big magnetic pulse, and it just pulses it. So you look at how a ZVS heater works, it's just putting out a pulse wave, and it produces heat. That's it. So we're putting out a magnetic pulse just like it does. That's why we use the ZVS. Now, Slayer exciter is different. It connects to your number 2 coil. That means it forces the oscillation into the number 2 coil. That's a bit of a difference. How would I know how to light up a bipolar Tesla coil with one wire? Because I know it's a pulsed field. Just like the ZVS puts out. Simple as it can be. Pulse field. So, like I said, I don't use the spark gap in any of my Tesla coils when I do all these experiments, just so we all know. They're straight up electrical circuits. I use the ZVS a lot. I use my Slayer exciter a lot. And my Slayer exciter is in negative, not positive. And it has a PNP, not an NPN on it. So it's totally different. Like I said, runs 40 volts all day long. Does not fry on you. I do not have a Tesla coil that burns up every 5 seconds. That doesn't say I don't blow things up. Okay, don't get me wrong. I blow them up because I run them way out of their parameters that I should, and I know it. So that's a different story altogether. And yes, I have walked right by it when it's smoking and just ignored it and kept on saying what I was saying. Oh, man. So Sean says 6 to 8, 40 watts. Flores Paul puts it even unity or greater than unity. So yeah, we're showing you on the negative side that there's over unity if we wanted it. And basically, if I put another tub next to it, here's the cool thing. If I put another tub next to it and ran a wire from that tub to that tub, and I just had the same thing in there, sand and water, now I could just add another 10 bulbs to it. And then I could do it again on the other side of it. As long as I can calculate the capacitance and change my wire clips on my ZVS to my Tesla coil, I can do it all day. All day long. All I have to do is adjust for the capacitance. Now, if I used an air core transformer, it'd be easier to adjust for the capacitance because I'd be like Ian and have a capacitor board, which I could just switch it at will. And make it a whole lot easier. And that's why Tesla's a genius. And I'm just some schmuck in my garage playing around. So, let's see. Like I said, I did not run a meter on my ZVS. I'm sure Sean can tell you all that information. I don't have it. Sean, if you have it, put it in the comments and I'll put it up for him. Sean, remember the full brightness potential works with lower power. Yeah, we get full brightness out of them, by the way. That's not a problem. By the way, if I ground that tub, just run a wire right into the ground to that tub, I can amplify that whole thing. So, yeah, I didn't even pull the negative on the ground right there when I pulled it, which actually makes everything light up brighter. So, it's funny how it works. Let's see. People talking about something else, 3 squared, something cubed. Let's see. There you go. Frequency of the ZVS, Hopefully that answers your question. It just looks like gibberish to me, but hopefully it does well for you. The caps on it, by the way, that I put on there, if you wanted to know that, 0.150 is it. So I have two of them on there. So 0.075 is I believe it's nanofarads on there. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we are getting over unity in all of it. So I want to say this. If you want to make a free energy device, just watch the videos that I put out and just put the clues that I gave you together. Now, I showed you how to convert to cold energy. I showed you how to convert back to hot energy. Now we just got to take the capacitor bank and put it afterwards. And I'll probably do a loop system because everybody wants to see it. And then we'll show the amount of energy we get out of it. Now, once you start doing that stuff, just so you know, it starts to put you in a different category the way people look at you. So I want to do it, but on the other side, I don't really want to do it. So please understand the conundrum, but I will do it because I said I would. And that's, just the way it's going to be. But I'll show the unity in it. You guys will be able to do it. A lot of people showed unity in Don Smith's device, and they showed the over unity if they did it right, if they understood how radio frequency works in that device. They got it. And the multiple 2 is a big thing, multiple 3. When you start putting in these coils, also floating ground. If you guys watch Joe Legacy, absolutely amazing Don Smith stuff, okay? When he shows you that your primary coil just has to be the same size as your ground coil in a floating ground, that's revolutionary, man. That's a total understanding of what's going on there. And he just tells you it's radio frequency. Radio operators did it with the ham radio, I believe he said. And he says, then now once you have your primary coil and you double it, those are all your coils that you put on the outside there. Those are all your coils that you're getting your energy from. How many can you put out there? Well, how many can you fit around in a circle, I guess is what it is. And you'll get all of them. And all of them produce energy. So those are awesome. And total cool understanding. Then we also look at, who was it? We look at Ian. Oh my Jesus, did he pull something off? So I put one rod down my Tesla coil, but Ian decided it'd be a good idea to put 6 of them down there. So what happens when you get 6 rods down their Tesla coil? Well, that's a pretty simple answer. You're going to get 6 individual things that come out of it. He has already multiplied the amount of energy coming out. Again, the primary circuit was not touched, so it's like a well. We simply put the cup in and take the water out, like a big Stargate. Imagine that big blue Stargate, right? Let's just go over there with the biggest bucket we have, and let's fill it up with that water, right? Let's take it out of there. Is it going to stop that Stargate from having a lot of water in there? No, not at all. You call it energy, you call it what you want. I call it water because it looks like water. You put it in there, get all that bucket full, get the energy, take it, right? But you didn't mess with the primary circuit because it's an open loop system. So you didn't mess with it. So when Ian put 6 rods down the center, guess what? He got 6 times the amount. Did it change the amount of energy on each rod? No. That's what's cool. So now you take the conversion. If your first rod goes down to loop your system, the other 5 rods are over unity. Now you have whatever you want. The only thing that I'll tell you that you should watch out for is you'll go from cold energy to hot energy depending on the capacitance level you put in there. And when I say capacitance, I just mean the level between the outside of your Tesla coil and the rod itself. So when you change that amount of distance, you change between hot and cold energy. You get too close to the regular coil on the outside, you're getting hot. You stay close to the center, you're getting cold. It's just 2 different types of energy, but you can use either one. But again, whichever one you decide to use, it's fine. But does it change the amount of your regular primary Tesla coil and how it oscillates? No. Either one you use, it doesn't. Once you have it in oscillation, that primary circuit runs. It doesn't change, doesn't get power eaten from it. It just continues to run. That's why you're getting over unity. Again, just understand that statement. No matter what the rod you put down there, you put 6, you put 1, it's not going to affect your primary circuit. Not going to slow it down. Not going to make it operate less. Not going to change everything. It's simply going to run. That's why you're getting over unity out of it. Ian's a genius, man. He knew what he was doing. I gave him that conversion. Why was he so excited last week when I gave it to him? Because he knew he had 6 rods down that coil. He also knew that for every single one of them, I showed him the conversion method in order to create regular energy out of it. So now he's going to have plenty of volts and amps that he can manipulate in any way he wants. It's a brilliant way to go. So that would be something unique. I don't think many people have ever done it. I'll still claim it's Tesla, but I'll give Ian the credit where credit's deserved. I've never seen it. I've never understood it that way, and he did. So, yeah, all the credit in the world to him. So, let's see. When thinking of the EVS, focus on 2 components, the coil and the capacitor. The values of these 2 components determine the frequency. Okay. That's a lot to say, but it makes it real easy. Change the capacitance, change the frequency. That's pretty simple. That's easy to do. Now, there's different ways to do it. I manually do it. Sean does it with capacitors. That's pretty simple, right? That's not hard. I change it by adding stuff to the number 2 coil. And I can change the capacitance of the coil. Sean changes the capacitor and changes the capacitance in the coil. That's fairly easy. You could do either one. It's just two sides of a coin. Pick the one you want. And I do it my way because I have to manipulate everything in order to put it in resonance frequencies for other coils. So if I ran it with the way it put it in the capacitor, I wouldn't be able to change it. Not unless I had a capacitor bank, which I can switch through all of them. Then I'd be able to do it. But once you set your capacitor, you set your coil. But when you change where you put the winding, if you don't use the LCR meter and don't make the primary coil along with your capacitor matched, okay, and I just mean one circuit so it reads at the same level. If you don't do that, you'll be able to manipulate with that little clip and move it up and down the number 1 coil and change it where you want to. We are so far beyond where we should be on a Tesla coil and what we can manipulate right here. You got to remember, I'm doing everything, guys. I'll go turn this thing on and I'll change it halfway to Sunday, and I'll still make everything resonate. Okay, I finally understand how this thing works in a much different level. So yeah, we're really getting there. Would you mind giving the audience a preview of the taco video I sent you a few minutes ago? If not, that's a go. We could build on the anticipation for the teaser. I want to listen to it, Joe. Is it cool? I mean, if it's cool, I'll play it. I don't know. No bad words, no nothing like that. Yeah, I enjoyed Ian sharing. The other day, he mixed it up a little bit. Guy is always, yeah. Ian's cool, man. He's just really cool. You guys got some other, you and John are working on a thing there. By the way, John, put in the formula again for Sean real quick, and I'll put it up on the screen for you. I want to show real quick what Sean did with the air core capacitor so everybody understands what it is, because it's kind of confusing a little bit if you didn't understand it. This right here is the air capacitor. Okay. So what is it? These right here are just little heat sinks for your MOSFETs. And he pulled them out of a, what was it, Sean? A stereo? Yeah, pulled them out of stereo. And that's what they are. And all he did was spray them with some clear enamel. And it made it so they don't spark from one to the next. When he did this is right here is Tesla's capacitor right here. This is that air capacitor. All you have to move is up and down. Now, you want a little bit more of a capacitor range, change, the amount of fins in there, things like that. But this is the basic understanding of it. It breaks from one side to the next. So this is basically the capacitor used to turn on his Tesla coil, which is really cool. So it's kind of a fundamental thing now that we look at it, right? What are we doing? All we're doing is breaking the capacitance with air. That's why it works the way it does with the rod down the center. It's no different than if I put this in the system. It's just a different geometry. And if you can understand that, you'll be all right. It's the same thing. Now, like I showed in the other video, that individual went ahead and touched it. He had a spark up Tesla coil, and he did it. I'll show it again in case people didn't see it. But yeah, I'll put it up there for you. Let me go ahead and pull that other one, and I'll show that to you again. Take me just a second here, guys.
I survived. And indeed, the currents appeared totally harmless. I did not feel a thing, even though 80 kilovolt was pulsing through the bars. I will now end with some experiments that further show the curious nature of the currents coming from this device, like lighting a bulb underwater and basic single-wire energy transmission.
Okay, did you hear what he just said? We'll just play it again.
Water and basic single-wire energy some experiments.
You can't touch hot energy.
I will now end with some experiments that further show the curious nature of the currents coming from this device, like lighting a bulb underwater and basic single-wire energy transmission.
Basic single wire energy transmission. That's exactly what we're doing with the rod down the center. You can still touch it. You could put it in water. You could put your hand in the water with it. That's about as simple as it gets. Let's go ahead and play a little more. Look at that. I don't want to play too much. I don't want to get in too much trouble. I just want to make the point to you guys. There's the same thing. The guy used a hairpin circuit. I used a hairpin circuit. It just did it in a different way. I just changed the geometry of how it's working. Yeah. So, yeah, we got it. We have it. We have Tesla's understanding of this. We have Don Smith's understanding of it. Guys, we have Ian's understanding of it. Now, all of it working together, we got all the over unity we want. It just, where do you want to pull it at? How do you want to make the coils? How do you want to devise the next part of the system? Is it a high frequency you want? Is it a low frequency you want? Choose. That's it. And we'll design the coils right around it. That's about as simple as it gets. We got the understanding down. That was the important part. We know how to put it in resonance. We know, how to use different coils in order to do that. So that means we can manage the coil down the center. Now we can go from cold energy to hot energy. We can go to the distance of a line in order to do it. We have distance tests to tell us exactly how far we can push it. We actually have a resonance test where we can tell we can push it wirelessly. So do we need as much energy as you think in radiant energy? That's the other trick to Tesla. Here's what's cool. Everybody thinks that with the Tesla coil, he's forcing it out in radiant energy everywhere. Well, when I show you a Tesla coil is a matched resonance and at distance, what does that mean? If you put a Tesla coil in your car that matches the exact same frequency as the tower of the Tesla coil, now at distance, you can run your car. There you go. You don't have to have this big field coming out of the Tesla coil that lights up every house on the block on its way to your car. You simply have the right frequency into a capacitor that pulls the energy through, that's grounded to your car, that makes the energy more powerful. There you go. Now you should start to get it. We don't need this giant field. We don't need that radiant energy. We don't need a suntan standing next to the Tesla tower. That's the wrong way to do it. I saw the History Channel do it. I was laughing my butt off, guys. Listen, 1,500 volts AC. They ran through this big Tesla coil, right? Big Tesla coil. Nice looking. Love the thing, man. Would love to own it. Okay? Not what I'm saying here. I have a little Tesla coil. I put 40 volts in. They got about, 5-7 feet? Maybe I'll give them 10. Maybe they got 10 feet out of it. Okay? Guys, I can pull that at 40 volts. Okay? I don't need 1,500 volts of AC. I got 40 volts of DC that could do the same thing. That's it. I could put the coil on the boat, match the frequency, run the boat all over the lake. Not a problem. You see, I did it with very little energy like Tesla. That's the understanding here. I didn't need a humongous Tesla coil. That's what bothers me sometimes when I watch these shows. They don't know what they're doing. Then they show it and people think, oh my God, that's a tremendous amount of power. I need 1 billion volts. Give me 1 billion volts. That's what I need to run this thing, 1 billion. Then we can get everybody lit up around the planet. No, you need to go back and learn what this thing really does is what you need to do before you kill everybody. That's what you need to do. Guys, it's not that hard. I showed it. Showed exactly how to do it. We got free energy. I think it's awesome. Okay. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this stream today, because there's a lot to it. But really, in the end, if you know all of it, then it becomes a very easy process. We can start transferring from one thing to the next and start getting our energy however you want it. Now, I'm just going to continue to do Tesla coil research. I'll do the conversion because I promised I'd do it. But I just want to do more research and see exactly what this guy knew, because there's X-ray stuff that he did with a CRT TV that I would like to get to in this. I had Charlie C send it to me, and it looked very interesting, so it's something I'd like to do. There's also a few more energy experiments that I'd like to pull off when it comes to resonance and how the distance goes. I'd like to get a great amount of distance out of it. I want to see if I can't pull 20 feet out of it with just by resonating the coils at the perfect coil. So I'll build 2 match coils and see if I can't hit it. I think that would be cool. And, we'll just go and build. I also want to build one coil that contacts the Earth. I'm going to set it, not at 7.83 like everybody would want. I want to set it out of resonance. I want a sympathetic resonance to the planet. I do not want direct resonance to the planet. There'd be a disaster. I just want to get sympathetic resonance to the planet once, turn it on for 2 minutes, and then shut it off for the rest of its life. I want it to be able to resonate with the Earth to see if Tesla was right. He said if you tap into Earth's power, you have an unlimited amount. And I wouldn't need to run it for any more than 2 minutes to know. It would light up the whole neighborhood and the other neighborhood and the other neighborhood out of one coil in my front yard. So I'd really get a suntan that day. I'll put on some sunblock. I may get it radiated. Who knows? I wanted to pull that off. There's a whole other side to this whole system, by the way, that Tesla did, and I can't talk about because YouTube won't let me, but there's a whole other side to this. And I hope, in some way we're able to do a stream that allows us for me to tell you what that is, because it's different than what they have out there. I know a lot of you see those systems out there. Let me tell you, it's not a full system, and it's more of a placebo effect. And I know the right way to do it. And it has to do with the crystals and how you can put the frequency on the crystal, how you can grow the frequency onto the crystal, things like that. And, just how it can imprint on things is, I guess, as far as I can tell you on it. And it's really cool how that works. But it definitely works. So, yeah, that's about all I can say. So, now, okay, Joe wanted me to play something. Joe, I'm going to pull up Facebook real quick, and I'm going to see if it's on there. So, hold on. I can't hear it. Maybe it's... Okay. All right, Joe, I'm trusting your word on this, so...
In the deck of the terror, I wear the hat of the fool. In the flesh, I live the life of a beaten, broken tool. We're all on a different path, no matter who we are. Made of the same old shit, junk left over from a star. I might not know a thing about what I just said, but it made perfect sense to me as it was running through my head. Though I might be as mistaken as a snake is for a rope, I will always speak the words untold and spit the straight dope. I'm just a straight dope, talking straight dope. Tell it how it is, how it may be. Maybe.
Can you not hear it?
Tacos de gringas. All right, folks, I know you've been waiting for this for a long time. Today, we are making white people tacos. Let's go. Spice it up.
Oh,
Genuine fake Mexican taco shells. Find a selection of ground meat obtained solely at a rural Walmart. Now for a trick that I learned because I'm a professional cook. Add some water to the pan. Trust the process. Add your meat to the water. Mush it into the water. Work it until it looks just like this, mushy. That's what you want. Tear open your taco seasoning. Add the taco seasoning in while there's still plenty of water in the pan. And stir it up. If at this stage your taco meat looks like dynamic dog shit, you're doing it absolutely correct. This is done. Pop these in the oven. Living life dangerously. Volcano sauce. Sour cream. Because I'm masochistic. Stir. Make yourself a ghetto-ass piping bag. And load them up with meat. Just like real Taco Bell, you can barely fit any meat in them. Perfect. Perfect.
Literally meant we were making tacos.
White people ass tacos. Delicious.
In the deck of the terror, I wear the hat of the fool. In the flesh, I live the life of a beaten, broken tool.
Okay, yeah, definitely covered up. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing that at this point. Joe, only you, man, would really make tacos. I thought you had like a song talking about tacos. That's so funny, man. Oh, no manwich sauce. Oh, he made a sandwich earlier. Oh yeah. Don't ever let that go by you. So, oh man, that's hilarious. All right. So, anyway, guys, that yeah. We're gonna be talking about the taco for days. Anyway, so let's get back to the testicles and the energy now that we talked about the tacos. So what else can we do with this? So we mentioned Don Smith. We could build that device. That'll be one of the future projects. Match Tesla coils, the future project. The actual, the bulbs. I'll put them underwater. I'd like to get some shorter ones, but we'll put them underwater and light them up, and just hold them down with our hands so that we can show the energy is safe. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe we'll just put some more dirt on top and see if it lights up through them, or put some magic glow in there. I don't know, man. Whatever. Do some fun stuff with that. Sean says we'll build the Meg. Yeah, we're going to build the Meg. That's on the list, because again, in the conversion process, the Meg is the best one to do it with. So we'll have to look into the exact parts of that, get the magnets. Again, shouldn't be too hard, shouldn't cost too much money. We'll do the experiments with her, good, bad, and different. I'll show them, and then we'll see exactly where we are, guys. I think that would be awesome right there, right? We'll go ahead and put that one together, but I think we're right on the right road. So let me pull up that machine real quick and I'll show you, because I don't think everybody understands what I'm talking about. For a lot of you out there, you've seen this machine and probably been intrigued by it. This one right here. I don't know how many people out there saw this machine, but based on our understanding, I think we got it. If we're going to convert the potential that comes off of that wheel right there from the Wilmhurst, then we should be able to pull this off. So let's take a look real quick. This is their capacitor right here. This is where their conversion happens. Doesn't that look familiar now? If I took a bipolar Tesla coil or anything else and I show you the different phases of how it works, that should now start to look pretty familiar. We now have the ability to build it because we learned it. So because of this Tesla coil, we know how to build that now. The two bottom ones you see there, you see them, they're horseshoe shaped. There's the Meg, both of them. So there's a positive and negative side on this. You can pull either one you want, but they're both the Meg. So I don't know if I can pull a better picture than that. There we go. Did it not show it? Oh. No, let me change this. That's why. There we go. So you see the two on both sides. We see we're going to make those with the coils. That seems pretty easy based on what I'm sitting and what we built already. We know right in the front we got the Meg. We got two of them. That's pretty easy. We see capacitance in there, so now we can change the capacitance. We pretty much have what we want out of this circuit now. We can start to build this with a serious understanding of how it works. So this is an over unity device used in another country. And this is another device that's on the list. And we wouldn't get there if we didn't do the Tesla coil videos and understand between hot and cold energy and how it works. Now we have the understanding of this one. So I hope you guys are understanding there's a lot more possibilities, a lot more things that we can build. They're all over Unity. It's been proven through several of them that they were able to do it. So I would play some Eric Dollar guys, but I don't want to get in too much trouble. I got my channel in trouble for showing other videos. I don't want to do that too much. Show some pictures and stuff like that. But yeah, some people may not think that the Meg. They may think there's capacitors in the center. I'm going to tell you right now, based on the way things work, magnets in the center, horseshoe coil, perfect. Just perfect. The Meg. And I guess if you read everything and believe everything that you read, they're capacitors. They're not. Those are magnets. So that's my understanding of it based on the way things are built. Now, look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I just build things and I make things work because I just use the technique of building one thing to the next. Now, when I'm done, you could tear it apart. You could tell me exactly which parts came from where, which patents they went to. Have fun. Have a blast. Do all of it. That's not what I do. I go in here and I build things in my garage and I make them work. I know how things flow from one thing to the next with energy. Based on that, I get it done. And then everybody else can define it when I'm done. I'm sure there'll be physics papers written on some of this. Heck, you can write a physics paper on just how I can convert amps into, high frequency volts, and do it just by changing your frequency or changing your duty cycle rate. And you could do that. There's going to be a lot of physics paper written on this, guys, later on. I just want to be the guy that builds it. I don't want to be anything else. I don't need to be the definer in chief. I don't need to do any of that. I'm just a guy on my garage that tells you plainly how it is, and I build it. And what you do from there, by all means, you know what I mean? Get all the degrees you can and explain it. Just mention my name in there, and I'll be happy with that. So, yeah. Just like Sean knows, I could build anything. And by the way, I could probably find resonance in anything if I tried. Can't do the math with no numbers. Well, what I'll do for you is as I pull this stuff and we get the system done, we'll just put meters all over it. And you can read all the meters all day and then define it. I think that's fair. I think that's the fair thing. It's kind of pointless when you're in the middle of building something to put a bunch of numbers on it because they're going to lead you in the wrong direction. Because it's more about flow of energy than it is calculating the numbers. They do help once in a while. Don't get me wrong in what I'm saying. I'm just saying I like to free flow build it and then pull the numbers. And then based on the numbers, we can redefine the building of it and see where we can pull the extra values out. That's fair. I'm good with that. But yeah, we'll put the meters on it when it's done and we'll just, define everything. And I think that's fair. So, let's see. Yeah. I don't know who you're talking about here, Toy Maker. I would absolutely love to meet the old school guys, man, in the Tesla coils. Let me tell you that right now. Absolutely love it. Dollard all day long. Just, dude, Linderman, all of them. If I could just sit in a room with some of these guys, and I know Bedini's gone, I would have loved to sit in the room with him and, just have a workbench and each person just get up and just throw something together and build it. That'd be the best day of my life right there, man. And we just, have a good time and hang out and do that. So, yeah, Eric Dollard's an awesome, awesome individual. I absolutely would love to work with that guy just for one day, man. It'd be awesome. So, anyway, guys, that's pretty much it on the energy stuff. I just wanted to get that stuff out to you. I mean, I think we're pretty good. I think as long as we keep trying and keep pushing it, we can hit the final levels. But the conversion rate was the key. That right there was the key. That's. I bet you in Ian's next video, he's going to do another coil and convert it, and he'll pull plenty of numbers for it. He you've seen his setup, man. There's all kinds of oscilloscopes and things all over the place in that guy's lab. So we'll definitely get some cool numbers out of that. And you'll be able to define it. Hopefully it helps you guys out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bearden would have been awesome to talk to you, too. Especially if you're building the MIG, man. You do it right in front of him. Oh, man, what a bigger compliment can you get than that? I know he probably passed on, but, yeah, it's unfortunate. Right on, Sean. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm about to get out of here, guys. Hey, I just want to give you guys a heads up. The little membership thing, you can see it on my screen right there. They have different badges that are down there. And then also there are the things that you put in the chat. So here, I'll go ahead and throw mine up. We'll do a little shrooms, little captain. Oh, Ben and Gerald, Coil, and then, of course, the fireman is Joe. And then if we get one more member, guys, I'm allowed to add another one on those emojis. So let me see if I can't pull it up real quick. I will share it with you. One second. We have, let me see where it is. Make sure it's in here. There it is. That's the next one I'm going to add, guys. So it's kind of an inside joke, but that'd be pretty cool. We'll add that one next. So I got another one on there, man. That's even better, but that's the next one up. So anybody who wants to become a member, man, go ahead and feel free. You'll be able to get the stuff early. I put out videos early, leave them on there for a few days. Everybody gets to watch them as a member. Then I usually publish them out. I put certain stuff on there just for members. I'll go through some of the backstage stuff that I do. Maybe some of the insights you don't normally get. I do a lot of work on my Tesla coils. You see me burning them out, changing capacitors in them, why I think they work the way they do. Different styles of things that I normally don't show. I'll show my failures on there, which is just as big of an understanding as my successes. So that's also goes in there. And then I just put little fun things in there, guys, just for people. And I'll go ahead and show you one of those real quick. We put all the Star Trek spoof things in there. I won't show that this time, but I will show you this. I put this out. I just thought it was hilarious. We have all those people over there in New Jersey, man, and they're getting all those UFO drones and stuff. And when I do the show later on today, we'll talk about those. But I wanted to show you guys this. I thought it was funny. Anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for showing up today and hanging out with me and learning some stuff. Guys, if you have questions, please ask them because I'll probably do a video to prove or disprove what we're talking about. I have to do one on the, what was it? The circuit we just did today. So we'll do that. We'll do the hairpin circuit. And it basically, a guy asked me to put it up or shut up. And I'm just going to build the loop just like the guy did in the video. And I'll show the light. I can pretty much do that. And I'll put in there that air capacitor so that we see that as well. So I don't plan on shutting up. So I'm going to keep putting it up. So if you got something like that, by all means, try to make it simple. You know, less than one paragraph would be helpful. And then we'll put it up. With that said, guys, I want you guys to have a great day. It's 6 o'clock, so it's 4:30 now. So in about an hour and a half, we're going to do another show for Mike. Mike Faraday is out today. So I'm going to go ahead and head over there and do the show with him. And it's going to be pretty awesome on his channel. I'll sub for him. And then that's pretty much it, guys. We'll be talking about some drone stuff over there. Just having a little fun. Hopefully you guys show up and have as much fun as you want in the chat, man. Just laugh it up, have a good time. And then tomorrow, Joe and I will be ripping it up with that drone stuff for sure. So anyway, with that said, guys, thank you very much for everything. I really do appreciate everybody in the chat. Have a great day if I don't see you in a little bit. All right.